I'm back, and today we're talking about the greatest mobile puzzle game of all time. And no, it's not Candy Crush, and it doesn't exist anymore. It was killed by Zynga. So I decided to recreate it and give it new life.
Let's all turn on the tube. This is hot dog soup.
In 2007, a game designer called Frank Lance was commissioned by CBS to create a new game for a TV series. The series, which was called Numbers, featured a character that was a rogue game designer, so they needed a game for this villain to put in the show. While watching the episode of this TV series, viewers would find out that you could actually play the real game online on a website called chainfactor.com. This game, Chain Factor, as created by Frank Lance, inspired him to make a mobile game of it. He called it Drop7 and it was released in 2009. The game is a Tetris-style block dropper where you throw blocks from the top of the screen to below. If the screen fills up, it's game over. The mechanics of the game are sort of different to what you might expect. It's not about filling rows or columns, it has to do with the numbers on the blocks. If a block numbered 3 ends up in a row or a column that is 3 wide or 3 high, the 3 will go away. In fact, all of the 3's in that row or column will go away, simply because the length of the row or column is 3. So it's not about number matching or adding or color matching even. It's just about the length of the rows and the columns in which those numbers are being deleted. So it was slightly more difficult to understand than Tetris, but it was also easy enough for large audiences to understand. Tetris, of course, is a little bit old-fashioned, but it's still very popular today. And Drop7 simply added a lot of fresh and cool new things to this concept. It was a wonderfully simple but also complex game at the same time, and it was very addictive to play. It had a great reception. IGN gave it an overall rating of 8.5 out of 10, and it ranked number 2 on its list of top 25 iPhone games. In 2013, Edge retroactively gave the game a 10 out of 10, which not a lot of games get from them. Even though launched on the iPhone, an Android version was also created. But then came Zynga. Zynga acquired Drop7 and the company that made it. And as everybody knows, as soon as Zynga does something, the shit will hit the fan. Zynga, well known for Farmville and Words with Friends for example, famously stole a lot of games from other developers. And they didn't just steal the game ideas, they also stole the graphics and the sounds. And on top of that, they destroyed and discontinued Drop7 a couple of years after it was released. Players first started noticing some issues when Zynga no longer updated Drop7. New iPhone devices came out, new models, different screen sizes, and the game wasn't updated to support those at all. The game just wasn't updated and maintained. It just seemed to have sort of died, and nobody heard from Zynga about it. They were just silent. And then all of a sudden Zynga released an update for Drop7, changing all the graphics and the music. And nobody liked it. And people were complaining. There was outrage. Zynga actually was destroying their favorite game, Drop7. And me too, I was annoyed as hell. It was a great game. I played it forever, constantly, all day and night. And now it looked different, it was faster, it was more bouncy, the animations were different, it felt different. The whole feel of the game was destroyed, not to mention the music. And this time Zynga actually listened to players and they released another update, changing the graphics back. Well, there was a button and you could, in a setting, change the settings back to the old design. Players were happy again, thank you Zynga. A couple of years later, iOS 12 was released and Drop7 no longer worked. The game simply crashed when launched. It took them about 4 months to release a new update to fix this and to also support a couple of new iPhone devices. But that was it. No more from Zynga after that. In subsequent years, this new version also was never updated again by Zynga, and at some point it was removed from the iOS App Store. For some reason it was only available on Android for a couple of years, until that one was removed from Google Play as well. And that is, tragically, how Zynga managed the greatest mobile puzzle game of all time. Players were confused and annoyed, and I can't imagine how Frank Lance must have felt. So I decided to make a clone. It's not stealing. It's not stealing. Wait, I need my finger. It's a clone. It's not stealing. It's a clone. Yeah? So I'm not stealing the graphics. I'm not stealing the sounds. I'm not Zynga. I just love this game. And I thought I'll make my own version of it. And because I played Drop7 so much, thousands and thousands of hours, I exactly knew how it would play and what it would feel like and how the scoring worked and how the level progression worked. So it was an ideal project for me to try games programming because I didn't have to think about the game at all. I already knew what it was going to be. So I decided, let's do this. And I called my game SevenBloks. Blocks with a K because I'm Dutch and I want to give it a sort of European feel, which bit me in the ass, by the way, because nobody knows how to spell it, nobody knows how to find it, Google even autocorrects it incorrectly, etc, etc. But anyway, I kept the title because I like it. I hired a former employee of mine to design all the graphics because I'm a horrible graphics designer, I don't know anything about it. This abomination is what I created in the 90s for a game when I was very young, but still it was terrible. So I needed good game design with good blocks and titles and buttons and the whole thing. So I didn't have to make it myself. And he came up with a couple of designs, the blocks, the screens, the icon, the title screen, the playing field, etc, etc. I started, of course, with a very basic version with just a couple of blocks dropping because I did it in my spare time. I didn't do this full time, it was just a couple of hours here and there. So it took me about 6 months to develop before the first version was ready. And then I didn't even put it on the App Store because I wanted to fine-tune it a little bit more, which was another 6 months. In the meantime, I kept check on the original Drop7 game. Maybe Zynga would update it, maybe Zynga would bring it back to the App Store, but no, they didn't. There was no more Drop7 to be found. And at first I thought, well, they still have an Android version, maybe they're gonna do something with that. But when that was removed, I thought, okay, I'm going to put my version in the App Store. I released SevenBloks around 2017, and of course nobody downloaded it because I don't have any marketing budget. But slowly, as the years progressed, I gained more and more players. Unlike Zynga, I kept developing the game over the years. I added weapons, I added special blocks, I added bonus rounds in which you could collect extra points. I added an actual way to complete the game. There are 16 bonus rounds. If you complete them all, you complete the game and you unlock a new game mode where you can play with 8 blocks instead of 7. I even made a tvOS version, but after a couple of years removed that because nobody plays games on tvOS anyway. I just did all the upkeep and maintenance and support for the game for all these years. That's how you do it, Zynga. That's how you do it. A couple of days ago, I even made a how to play video, and I also made a video about how to complete bonus level 16, because bonus level 16 is actually really hard to complete, and that was the most requested thing about this game. And this means to me that people actually want to know and actually are interested and actually keep playing. They keep trying to beat bonus level 16 rather than delete the game. So to me that means they really like playing it, and I love that, and I'm really thankful for that. So I think it's been 7 years now that it has been released, 7 or 6 years, and well, I don't play it daily anymore. I have to admit, I'm sorry, I apologize. I'm working on other things. I'm trying to make YouTube videos, which I don't have time for anyway, and well, I'm doing other things. But for this video I started playing it again, and actually, yes, I'm really still very proud of it, and it still is a great game, and it's still very addictive. And still I get, a couple of times per week, I get emails from people who love it and who think it's a great game. And that's why I keep maintaining it. Thank you, Frank Lance, for creating it. He is the original creator. He deserves all the credit. And of course, the landscape of mobile puzzle games has changed. You have Candy Crush now, another match 3 nonsense. And they're all about selling you shit. With in-app purchases and pay to win and pay to unlock, and you have to wait for 24 hours now, but if you want to play on, you have to pay. You have to pay all the time, and that's not what I'm about, and that's not what's in SevenBloks. You can just play for free, and you can collect coins in the game, and with those coins you can buy continues, but you cannot buy those coins for money. You have to play to get the coins. That's what I'm about when I make games. And I'm working on other mobile puzzle games, which I'm going to tell you about on this channel. So there you go, that is Chain Factor, which turned into Drop7, which was destroyed by Zynga, thank you Zynga, and I remade it and it's still alive today. There's tiny ads at the bottom of the screen, but if you don't like ads, Just one single purchase and you will never see ads again. That's what mobile gaming should be. Download it now, link in the description somewhere. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, liking or commenting. Well, even if you didn't like it, please also consider. I thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.